here's Brody Brazil.
So the Portland Diamond Project has existed for, 7 or 8 years now, and there have been several ideas they've pitched over time, but it really seems and feels like they're narrowing things in. They've got a site, they've got some brand new, beautiful renderings, a ballpark right on the Willamette River, and nestled between two bridges, a property that they're in line to secure and purchase. They've got the support of the mayor. There's a lot to get into in this video. It's not just these beautiful renderings, but of course, we will talk about that as part of this process. It's important you know that there are a handful of cities vying for Major League Baseball teams, these MLB groups. Now, they're out there supposedly to try and lure the potential of expansion teams of Major League Baseball, but you'd have to also understand here, they'll take whatever they can get. In Nashville, if a team wanted to relocate. Same thing with Big League Utah. The state has $900 million up there earmarked for a ballpark in Salt Lake City. There's the Montreal project, which is still trying to replace the Expos. And then the Orlando Dreamers, maybe they have an inside track on the Tampa Bay Rays situation right now. Who knows with all that uncertainty, but there is a group in Orlando that would like to land Major League Baseball. So the Portland Diamond Project is one of those MLB current groups. They have existed since 2017. They recently entered into a 3.5-year window to buy this property at Zidell Yards, which I'll show you the overview in just a second. It's 33 acres along the Willamette River. I keep enjoying the opportunity of saying Willamette because I think a handful of months ago when I first did a video, and I knew it was Willamette, I just misspoke. I got nervous. I saw that word, and so Willamette, there you go. There's an unknown financier of the Portland Diamond Project. We don't really understand who is fully financially behind this or who would own the baseball team. Should Portland be able to either buy a team or acquire the team? You would have to think at some point that would come out. But at this point, it's kind of an unknown financial situation, like who's behind the curtain. But here's what they're proposing: a 32,000-seat stadium with a retractable glass roof. It's translucent. I didn't have enough space to type that in there, but that's the new thing, right? Make a translucent roof. You can capture in all the sunlight, but you kind of filter it so that it's not direct sun. It's just kind of the light and not actually the sun that comes through. And the renderings were done by the firm Populous. They do a ton of sports stadiums. And from the movie Wicked, Populous, I want to be populous. No, never mind. Most of you don't even get that. You're not even familiar. Zidell Yards. Here's what it looks like from overhead. Obviously, this is downtown Portland up here. Now, the problem is you look at the lay of the land and the footprint of Zidell Yards. Well, you've got two big bridges right in the way. You've got the Ross Island Bridge, and then you've got Tillicum Crossing over there. So, like, this is space here, but is it a little bit of space there? Actually, you know what? Let me undo that. Let me go blue here. You've got space here, you've got space here, and you've got space here, but you've got two bridges to break up all that 33 acres. So how exactly do you fit in like one big ballpark and area? And I think we now have the answer with these beautiful renderings. That's how you do it right there. You put it between those two bridges. You really nestle that ballpark in tight with the Ross Island Bridge. It is a retractable roof, right? And it's got that weird like airplane hangar type shape, but I really like it because look at the track that it runs on there, which is basically parallel to the Ross Island Bridge. So you run it on that track up there, and then basically you could have, kind of if I draw it that way, you could have the whole stadium covered. It's going to rain a lot in the Pacific Northwest. You can have the stadium covered at any point you want, but it also has that very much outdoor feel because there's like no wall from this direction and the Willamette River, right? So it's kind of like I almost said Safeco, almost like a T-Mobile Park situation up in Seattle where it's like the carport, right? The roof comes over, but it doesn't really ever feel like you're totally indoors, even when the roof is shut and it's covering you from the rain and elements. I like the fact that we're doing a flyover there on what is PDX's opening day. Let's say opening day 2034 would be my guess. And I know that they're saying that they would be ready eventually in this by 2027 for groundbreaking, but that's still another 3 years. That still puts you at 2030 of when this would even happen. But look at the view off in the distance, the mountain range, the fact that this is so wide open. And look at even the scoreboard, how the scoreboard is shaped like that because they don't want to cut off as much of the view. And actually, this image keeps going this direction. I had to make it fit here on the screen, but Really scenic view. Not much out there in the way of bleachers in the outfield. A couple small levels, just a handful of rows there. So not a bleacher-heavy stadium is what they have in mind. And, of course, you can't really have that when there's the Willamette River off in the distance. But look at this, and the kayaking right up to the stadium. It reminds me very much of San Francisco, maybe a little bit of Pittsburgh, kind of the river walk that's going on there. I mean, this is such a cool view. Now, fireworks in the daytime? I know they have daytime fireworks, but that's why renderings are renderings. Again, I have no doubts they could make something that looks like this. To be honest, I got to tell you, they're planning on building an A's stadium in Las Vegas, and the renderings for that, which apparently are being moved forward on, look worse than all this. This right here looks better than the A's renderings in Las Vegas, just in terms of quality and believability and attention to detail. I mean, you can kind of see here the glass structure versus a lot of woodwork. That's another thing about this stadium. And by the way, the Portland Diamond Project is going to eventually hold some press conferences and do some interviews and give a lot more information. But I mean, you can tell that this stadium is largely timber built, a lot of timber, a lot of glass, not a ton of steel. Those look like this carport type frame here is made, some of steel, but I do know that timber is going to be a large portion of this. Look, whatever is built here into the retractable roof structure. Are those areas, offices? What is that up there? It's very cool, whatever it is, but it's certainly unique. A lot of greenery. You can see how they've integrated public transit into the mix here. So again, these are very high level, intricate details. The populace, they don't mess around. They've done this a lot. They've done this before. They do this the right way. Okay, now we're at nighttime. Now we're going to get the fireworks. Looks like we've got a concert going on. Also looks like here, this is maybe the renderings of the roof being closed. It's a much lower perspective. We're down closer to river and water level here, but that is just a beautiful sight there for downtown Portland. And how about this? More of the concourse area. There's some of that wood and timber on the inside. This looks like you're maybe down the third or first baseline, and you're kind of in between those buildings. So this is the wave of the future. This is very much a common architectural thread of what designers see for the future of professional sports venues. A lot of curvature here. Just a big, nice, wide open concourse here where fans can come out and congregate. And also the fact that you can see it's open to the ballpark. So it's not like when you're in the concourse area that you're closed off from the actual field of play. Another view here from, it looks like maybe north looking south. This is the crossing looking over at the Ross Island Bridge. And yeah, I mean, just the fact that you could have something like this where you walk down and get some scenic vistas of the river. And it really incorporates nature and what they're building here and the ballpark here and concerts they would have here. I mean, this really does kind of feel and have the fit of something Portland would and should do. By the way, this is the aerial tram, which I actually initially was like, oh, they're going to build that too? No, that already exists. I had to go back and double check that. It's been a while since I've been to Portland, by the way. But that's something that already exists. It would bring you right down here, and that's not far away from where the ballpark's at. So you can kind of see how this would look skyline-wise and fit in the landscape there along the river. Here's what Craig Cheek said. Craig is the PDP, Portland Diamond Project's CEO. Quote, "We believe this is an iconic site. If you think about the current 30 stadiums in the country, there may not be a better backdrop." Well, I have been to Pittsburgh multiple occasions, and San Francisco is right around the corner from where I live. So I do have to say, look, this would very much be in competition. I don't mean to counter Craig and say he's wrong. I'm just saying he's right about the fact that this, what I've shown you so far, it goes kind of in that same category of some of the best ballparks and some of the best locations. There's two things about a ballpark. Architecturally, what did they do with it? How did it turn out? But number two, location. I mean, sometimes, you could put a great ballpark in just a mid location and it turns out to kind of be a wash. Great ballpark, great location, and I think that's what they're trying to do here. Craig also called this ballpark a civic asset 365 days a year. And look, I think it has to be to work out well for Portland and however they're going to fit this in. I mean, you want to make it a baseball stadium, but the fact that it's got that roof And the fact that now Portland would have a bigger indoor/outdoor venue that's more than just the basketball arena, I mean, this could be very valuable for them. Mayor Keith Wilson, also very much on board, and I cannot stress how important this is. If you want a project to be successful, you don't just need the mayor, you need city and county elected officials on board, but it's nice to have the mayor on board. Keith Wilson said this: "We need a project like this, and we need a project like this now." It's very urgent about these renderings. Portland, he said, is, quote, actively partnering with the Diamond Project to build a complete and compelling package for, let me help him out here. To build a complete and compelling package for MLB. It's never the MLB. There's no the Major League Baseball. Okay, sorry. Pet peeve. Had to do that there. But you understand the fact that the mayor and the mayor's office are working in tandem with the Portland Diamond Project. That is a big development. What comes next here? All right, so it's 18 acres, 33 total, but 18 acres for the ballpark. That's right in the middle. 15 other acres on the site for retail, hotels, residential development. None of those details are out yet exactly what they want to do, but again, that is most likely to come in time. They said that they're ready to break ground by 2027 at the soonest. So that seems like a rush to me, just to get all these things orchestrated, but you also don't have a team. Herein also lies the question: how far along do you move on this until you have some certainty that baseball is either going to expand or would give you a team? Or why are they pushing on this right now? Why is PDP coming out with this right now while there are two teams very much crossing bridges to unknown yet final destination? Like the A's have not broke ground in Las Vegas yet. And until they do, it's not guaranteed that they will. And the Rays have a lot of questions. Their own ballpark, March 31st deadline. Anyway, 2027 is when they could break ground here at the soonest. They also, the Portland Diamond Project, they want to modernize Senate Bill 5 from 2003. You almost have to dust off the old laws here for a second. What is Senate Bill 5 passed in 2003? WillametteWeek.com has this information. In 2003, lawmakers passed Senate Bill 5, which would allow a Portland baseball team to capture the state income taxes generated by the team's payroll. In other words, the taxes payers pay on their salaries would automatically be sent back to the team's front office. Such a ballpark financing scheme doesn't exist anywhere else in the nation, and they've been sitting on this, we're in 2025. They've been sitting on this, which is crazy, since 2003. All they have to do is activate this. It's a lesser known thing that's existed. It's kind of like not a loophole, but here's some explanation on it. Then State Senator Ryan Deckert, a Democrat from Beaverton, and State Representative Vic Backlund, a Republican from Kaiser, pushed the bill while Portland was in hot pursuit of the Montreal Expos. Right, so that's why it came to be. They eventually relocated to D.C. and became the Nationals. Quote, "It was one of the most memorable moments of my legislative career," says Deckert. He resurrected the tax break with the simple legislative wizardry of stuffing it into a bill that had already passed the Senate. Is that legislative wizardry or trickery, or does that seem a little unethical? I know it happens all the time. Anyway, long story short, they got it in Senate Bill 5. What Deckert passed is called but-for legislation. It allows any Major League Baseball team in Portland to capture income tax revenue that would not exist but for the relocation of the team to Portland. Or maybe in this case, the expansion team that would come to Portland. That was from back in May of 2018 in Willamette Week. There have been other ideas in other locations. There was a downtown spot, the Lloyd Center Mall. They were going to try and cram a ballpark here into a 2-block thing. I mean, that would be interesting, and I don't know how all those people would get in and out of there, but it never came to fruition. Same thing here with the Terminal 2 location, also on the Willamette River. So they're very much a riverfront forward inspired idea here. The Red Tail Golf Course was another idea that the Portland Diamond Project was recently pursuing. In fact, I think they Did they buy this land, or they were about to buy this land? It still could be used, they said, for training and youth facilities, but this is a golf course, and this is a little bit west of downtown, of proper downtown Portland. So this was also an idea, but it certainly does not seem optimal or that they're going to act on it. So the Zidell Yards site, again, it's all this location here, and if they don't build a ballpark, like something beautiful and cool is going to go right there. There's no question about it. Will it be a ballpark that basically sits on that plot of land right there or not? Remains to be seen. Here are my takeaways. Number one, all of this is like top-notch imagery, right? Portland is putting forth a great presentation here. Now, they've got to follow it up with ducks in a row in terms of money and who's behind this and how are they going to go about it. They've got some competition, which I'll get to in a second. But in terms of just this, this is as top-notch, top-shelf as it gets. But my question going back to this is, why emerge right now? Is it because baseball season is upon us again? Is it because just the timing of it, it took a while to do these renderings and they were just complete, so now we're doing them? Or is it because, again, of the A's uncertainty and the PDP, Diamond Project, they know something. Maybe they know something about the Rays' uncertainty. And certainly they know that Utah is out there. And I'll get to this in just a second. Utah has that $900 million from the state just sitting there for anybody that wants to come build a stadium in Salt Lake City. But why? Like there's never a random reason why this comes out like this when it does, how it does. It's a very tactical, specific way that it comes out. And the timing is specific of this. So I don't know the answer to that, but I'm telling you there is a reason behind it. And it might be less about expansion and more about potential relocation, because my next topic here is if you're reliant on expansion, I think it's going to be a while for Major League Baseball. Potential work stoppage after 2026 for a new CBA. Some would say a likely work stoppage. They've also got a ton of restructuring with their TV deals, both regionally, locally, nationally. The ESPN deal just went away. So I don't know that baseball is really set to expand. I mean, a handful of years ago, they said, as soon as Tampa and Oakland are squared away, we're expanding. Well, they're still not squared away. And now the situation from then has changed a little bit. So I don't know that expansion is right around the corner as it once probably was. All that established, I do think that Portland is a good fit. This is a good location. This is a good market. I think this can work. I would also have to think that there are likely some deep pockets here. And for as much as we can talk about the money and that 150, by the way, that's from SB 5. Hang on, put that in your pocket for a second. Hang on to that. But there have got to be some deep pockets involved here to the point that maybe they can privately finance this stadium. There's going to be a fight. If they ask for a lot of public money outside anywhere else, I don't think Portlanders are going to stand for it. Portlanders? Did I get that right? Yeah, you're a Portlander. Anyway, I don't think they're going to want to contribute any public money. Now, look, in San Francisco, Oracle Park, a.k.a. Pac Bell Park, when it was built, completely privately financed, and it's done quite well. And now they're finally building out all the different phases. Maybe this is exactly like that. I do believe there's a lot of investors and there's a lot of money up in Portland privately, and they could probably do it that way. So if that's the case, hey, that makes all of this so much easier, because I just want to get to this part right here. SB 5, which they're trying to rework, right? They're trying to go and probably get more out of it, because in 2003? 150 would get you maybe like a third of the way to a brand new ballpark. But here in 2025 and beyond, 150 is not going to get you anything. We're talking about $2 billion stadiums now. Retractable roof, easy, $2 billion. And how do you match that with Utah, who's got $900 million sitting there? So that is the competition. And if you think that I'm shallow by saying, well, Utah's got more public money they're going to throw at the stadium project, I'm not saying that that's cool, that's right, that's a great way to decide who should get a baseball team or not. I'm just saying that's exactly what Major League Baseball and its owners are going to look at first, right? They look at this side by side. And if that's Portland and that's Utah, you know who's going to win, like 10 times out of 10. So we'll see what happens here. We'll see how this breaks down. I also think that Portland and Utah are in direct competition of geography. I think Major League Baseball is truly going to try and put eventually one team out east, one team out west if they expand. But I don't even know if they're in expansion mode anytime soon. How about the A's relocating somewhere in the west permanently? How about the Rays staying out east permanently? No matter if it's Tampa or St. Pete or Orlando or somewhere else. So there's just a lot going on here with the Portland Diamond Project, but I did want to highlight what I'm very excited about. I think that's very cool, and I certainly wish them the best in moving forward with that. What a process, right? Like, you spend all this money, you try and acquire land, you try and do all the right things to prepare for a team, and then you just got to sit there and wait. You have to wait for baseball to be ready to expand, and I would think that baseball wants their expansion fees sooner than later. If we're talking about, baseball expanding by a couple teams and each team has like a $3 billion, maybe $4 billion expansion fee, like, who wouldn't want that spread across all the teams? They would love that influx of money, especially right now. But it's hard to do all this work, do all this groundwork, and not know that it is a certainty that you are going to get rewarded for it and that baseball is going to cooperate with you. It's just a very difficult process. And again, that's why going after teams that exist right now for relocation, it's the more savage thing to do, but it might be the more valuable thing to do in the short and long term. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Thumbs up down below. I greatly appreciate that. Helps me, this video, and this channel. And don't forget to also go down there and subscribe so I can definitely see you back here next time.